Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek Jain and welcome back to the Matplotlib tutorial series part 4. And in today's video, we're going to understand how to draw a scatter plot and where to use it and why to use it and how we can, extract the information based on the data sets which we actually visualize through the scatter plot. So let's create another Python file and call it as a scatter underscore demo underscore part 4. As usual, import matplotlib.pyplot as plt, and then we need some fake data which I have already created. So it's a Python dictionary, and I have already written this piece of code where I'm extracting, these specific data points for every tags like age, storing an age, like this, right? So in this data set, we have age of a person, resting blood pressure, then probability of a heart disease, max heart rate, cholesterol level, and the fasting blood sugar. So we have these numbers. I just created, just to give you the sense that how this data we can visualize on a scatter plot and what kind of info we can get from that, right? Now it's very simple. To start with, all we need is a scatter plot. And then we have to give two variables because scatter plot is actually help us to build a relationship between two continuous variables. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have this rest blood pressure and then I'm going to show. And let's run this and see how it looks like. Python. Okay. Now this is, so we can see the points like on a x-axis and a y-axis. So basically first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, right? So we can see 5 dots, but it's not very helpful to understand, so what is happening here, right? So now we have a lot of attributes through which we can, control various parameters, within a scatter plot. And one of them is colors, right? And for colors, we can use one of the data points. So for example, if I use this max heart rate, right? So if I can say colors equal to this one, and if I run this plot again, let's see what happens. So should be C, I guess. So let's run this. Yep. So this looks good. Now you can see what we had done. We just passed C, which is actually changed the color of every dot, every point which we have. So we have 6 data points and now we can see a different color for all of them. And how it is getting calculated? This is being calculated based on the values which we feed in for the C. And we have these values 140, 130, 190, 130, and 80, right? So this is how, you can change the color based on another variable value. And we just gonna get more understanding, I mean, how to understand or interpret this different colors. Just wait for a moment. Another thing which we can add here, we can use the size, which is stand for S, and here let me just add this cholesterol value. So this variable, so through this, now what we're gonna see that our size of our data points are going to be changed based on the value of cholesterol, right? So let's bring in here. Now we can see a different size, okay. Next thing which we can do here is we can add line width. Line width, when I say line width, this means that, we are going to surround our dots, with line, and we can give like, I mean, how thick line we want with this line width. We can control the edge color of this line as well. We can say like red for now. Okay, let's see. And these are just different parameters through which you can, visualize the data. And there is a marker as well through which you can change this dot as well, right? So there are a lot of variables through which you can control this chart in a different way. But now this is not helping us to extract any kind of information. Rather than just saying that, okay, if the age is getting increased, then your blood pressure, the resting blood pressure is also getting increased. And the other thing which we are getting is if we have, cholesterol, right? If it is the cholesterol is in a, there is not a proper relationship, but if you just see the values which we have in a cholesterol, which is 140, 130, so you can see, the first one, the size of, dots is larger, it's the largest one among, rest of the thing, right? So we can understand this, the cholesterol of this person is very high, right? So there are multiple ways through which you can understand, and now I'm going to add few more parameters through which you can actually understand and establish the relationship, right? So I'm going to remove this for now, line width and edge color. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a C map, which is a color map, and in C map I'm going to use, so there are a lot of color maps which you can use. So what happens is it has a group of colors through which, because right now we were not controlling in which color dots are going to be filled with the color, right? So with this word, it has a very specific formatting. Now we can see, you can understand, now we have a different colors. But if we use with this, then what gonna end up is it is going to create color in a very specific trend, and we can see something like this, right? And if I change this to, let's say, summer, let's see what happens. Okay, so now we can see a different gray shade, right? It's no, but still those data points are not making much sense, right? Now I'm gonna add another thing to this plot through which we can understand, what every color is signifying, how we can understand the values with seeing the colors, right? So we are going to add the color bar, and we're gonna save the object on color underscore bar, and then I'm gonna say color underscore bar equals to which value, so in color, basically I use this max heart rate. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna set label, okay, and I'm gonna say max heart rate. Max heart rate, right? So with this, let's see what happens. Then we will precisely get to know which color belongs, which color has what kind of value. So now we will, through this color bar, we can understand the relationship between the color, with the value, right? So if I run the code now I can see the color bar, right? On the right side, you can see from the dark green color, it is just going to be change, in a yellow color. So here, if you just see the yellow color, at the very first dot, it has a value closer to 140, right? And if we just go back here in our data points, we can see this max heart rate is 140. If I just come back here, chart, right? Now, if you just see the different values, right? Different green color intensity, right? 80, the maximum, the lowest value, this is having 80, right? So if you just match the color with the lowest value of this max heart rate, which is 80, so now we can understand this is being colored with a dark green color. That's the reason it should be the max heart rate would be 80. So this is how you can understand the color once we have this color bar added, right? Okay, so now the other thing which we can add here, which I just forgot to cover in our previous video, in Matplotlib there is a very good theme, right? So we can use theme rather than let me just show you how we can display the various styles. So we don't have to control lot of parameters, especially through which we can just do the formatting, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to show this, at least for now, because I just wanted to show how many styles we have, and then we just gonna use one of the style, right? So now we can see we have a lot of styles, which Matplot is already having, right? So what we can do is we can use any one of them. So let's assume we want to use dark background, right? So all I need to do is I have to remove this, and I can say plot style dot use, and then I can give the name of dark background, and then I can say, now I can run once more time, and then we can see this theme, right? So now we can see dark background, but this doesn't look good. The other one which I would like to use is, let's say I want to use Seaborn. Let's use Seaborn palette, this one. Let's see what happens if we use this one. Let me replace. Okay. And if I run this, let's see what kind of formatting we're gonna get. Right, so nothing much, but I think we should use something related to the grid. That way it would be, we can use this one, white grid. Okay, white grid. Let's run one more time. You can just play with this and see, how which formatting which style or which formatting you like most, right? So this looks good, right? Max heart rate. And few things you can also add to this is like, your X label, Y label, which I almost forgot to add. X label, right? We can say an X label, we have age, and Y label we have resting blood pressure. We can do resting blood pressure. Okay, and what else? We can say the value of we can copy this one so that we can have a figure name change as well. Okay, so we can say analysis, and then let's use another one from this. I think ggplot is also one I saw a lot. Now run this time and see what happens. Okay, this looks good, right? Awesome. So this looks good, right? Resting blood pressure, but Y label is not showing. Why? It seems like, oh, okay. This looks good. Okay, so now it looks good. So we have age on x-axis and resting blood pressure, right? Now, but still we are not able to get the trend between the variables, right? Because we have a very limited data, right? So what I have done is I have downloaded some data sets from kaggle.com related to HUD, and it has some columns, right? So what I have done is the column name which we have in this data set is not that useful, right? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna create another Python file where what we're gonna do, we're gonna scatter chart underscore 4, but this time we're gonna use CSV, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I have copy pasted a lot of things. These are the libraries. And here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some code which I have already written. Okay, so I just use the PLT style use and I set the figure name as well. And the next thing which I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the CSV file, but I'm gonna use a pandas. In Panda, we have a data frame. And for this, I have to define a file path. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna define a file path. Okay, in file path, I'm gonna use this path module, path, current working directory, and then I'm gonna give the location of the path where my health hard data is lying. So it's lying in, under the data set, hard and this, right? This is my final file, which is inside the dataset folder. Inside the dataset folder, we have health. I can show you that dataset and health, and then we have this health hard, right? So path.cwd is giving us a current working directory. And then this path is going to just join this. And why I use this path, so that it is platform agnostic. Like it doesn't matter whether you are running this code on a Windows or on a Linux like machine, right? So that's pretty much it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just reading this one and I'm saying, okay, the header is, so if I just open this, the first line is having a header. So that's the reason I'm saying here, this header is 0, right? So you don't have to worry about this. This is just a syntax with, Panda providers, that if you want to read any CSV file, then you can use these attributes. These are just the optional one. So what happens is it reads the CSV file and create a data frame and give it to you, right? And then what I want to do is I want to define a columns in a more readable format rather than using the one which the CSV is having. So I just make it more easy to understand. So like chest pain, like if you just see here, the third one is CP, that doesn't make sense, right? So I just, make it more verbose here, right? So that you can easily understand the column value. Now, the next thing is what I'm going to do here is, now I have a data frame where I have enough data. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the same thing, plot scatter. And here, what I have to do is I have to provide the x-axis data and the y-axis. And now what I'm going to do is I'm say age y equals to, I'm going to say resting underscore BP. And then with this pandas data frame, all I need to do is I need to pass in data, and I have to say that df, which is containing my data frame, which has all the CSV data, read it, right? And then if I just put plot show, then I should be able to run this and draw cattle chart py. Okay, so now if I just bring not this one, this chart, now we can see lot of data points. And now it really makes sense if I just copy paste, the various attributes which we have learned in the earlier section, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these 3 parameters from here, and I'm going to feed in those 3 here. And but rather than saying market, what I have to do is I have to just copy the corresponding column name max heart rate. So I need to just copy this one and I need to feed him, and then the data variable will automatically feed these values, right? Then for cholesterol, all I need is this one. And since, data frame is already there, automatically, for X, Y, C, and like for color and size, all those variables, this data frame will provide the data. And now if I close this one and run this code, let's see, cool. Now we can see these dots, the rest, which the last thing which we can add this color bar along with, these labels. So let's do this. Okay, and if I close this and run one more time, cool. See, this looks good, right? Now we can see the trend based on, these color values, and we understand, right? The dark green color is going to give me the lower value. The yellow color is going to give me the max heart rate, which is 200, right? So now we can understand, we can establish a relationship based on the density, right? I mean, for which age group, what's the blood pressure relationship, and then by seeing the colors, we can understand whether there is a how the relationship between, the resting BP with age with, heart rate, right? And then size is going to give us the value of, cholesterol. So now we have 4 different of attributes on this scatter plot. The size of, the dots we are going to, that is going to give us the cholesterol value. The color of our dot point is going to give us the heart rate, and where that point is located, that is going to give us, the intersection between, resting blood pressure and the age, right? If you want, you can just do a little bit of more formatting, like as I mentioned, that you can use edge color. I can give edge color as black, and then I can use line width also. I can give 2, right? And we can run this one more time and see what is happening now. Okay, this is just to have a little bit more distinguishable data points with this line width, right? So we are only left with one more mostly used parameter, which is plt dot title, and we can say heart health data analysis, and then we can just run for the last time, and then we should be good, I think. And then if you have a very specific need to play with this data, you can always read through the documentation, because it's very comprehensive. There is a lot of data points, not data points, like a lot of attributes through which you can just control this, right? So that's pretty much it, which I wanted to cover for this scatter thing, scatter plot. And thanks for watching this, and stay healthy, keep learning a new thing. And one more point, if you have any feedback or any suggestion to make this video more helpful for you guys, please feel free to put that into the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching this.